All right, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. And now we have with us over the phone Dr. Monica Williams, and she's a professor of international relations, and she will tell us what she thinks of Egypt's vital role in the Iran problem. Good evening, Dr. Monica. And thank you for joining us on the very first edition of Nile Oracle here on Nile TV International.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Dr. Monica, very much. We are here in the studio with Major General Osama Kabir, the advisor at the Staff Command Staff and Command College. Dr. Monica, how did you see Egypt's vital role in de-escalating the situation, in mediating, in taking into concern and highlighting the security needs of the Arab Gulf countries, and trying, you know, to draw and be Egypt is always an important element of drawing up anything related to the region, but in trying really to reach an understanding that is satisfactory for all, so that it could be a lasting one.
Indeed. Of course, Egypt played a central role and vital role in regional de-escalation by pursuing intensive diplomatic engagement with all major stakeholders involved in the current Middle East crisis, if we can say it. Rather than align with competing regional blocs, Egypt adopted a balanced foreign policy which aims at preventing military escalation and perceive the regional stability. In recent months, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has intensified consultation with Gulf leaders, and of course there is a lot of visits to Qatar and of course Emirates, and on the other side to Saudi Arabia. Recognize that close coordination among key Arab states is essential to prevent the expansion of regional conflict. These discussions focus, of course, on containing the repercussions of the U.S. and Iran tensions and safeguarding freedom of navigation in the Gulf countries or state of foreigners specifically, and to protect the regional energy security and advance political solution over military confrontation. Egypt consistently supports greater Arab coordination while encouraging dialogue between Iran and its Gulf neighbors as a means of reducing the mistrust and lowering regional tensions. On the other side, and or the international level, the Egyptian leaders or states maintains direct communication with U.S. President Donald Trump, whether during international gatherings such as a G7 summit as we follow, or through previous bilateral consultation with Donald Trump and Arab countries. Of course, among these countries, Egypt was the prominent one or actor. Egypt conveys the same strategic message. Escalation would have severe consequences for regional and global security, while on the other side, diplomacy remains the only sustainable path towards resolving these disputes. And of course, Egypt repeatedly emphasized the need to avoid actions that could trigger a wider regional confrontation, which of course capable of disrupting international trade routes and the global energy markets and maritime security.
Yes, and Dr. Monica, a second and final question, if you will. How do you see Egypt's role in the upcoming period regarding the Iran situation, the Iran question? Because, I mean, after all, this is just a memorandum of understanding. We have a 60-day ceasefire deal to try and, you know, and bridge the gaps between the Americans and the Iranians on all files. So confidence building, trying to reach a comprehensive solution that takes into account the security concerns of all here in the region, on top of which Arab Gulf countries will be something essential. So how do you see Egypt's role in the Iran question going forward?
If we can take with the future scenarios for Egypt's role, as we agree that Middle East enters a new phase of geopolitical uncertainty, so Egypt expected to remain one of the region's principal diplomatic discourse, given its strategic location and balanced foreign policy and credibility among both regional and international actors. First and most likely scenario is the continuation of Egypt's intensive diplomatic mediation. Egypt is expected to maintain close coordination with Qatar, specifically as we know that Qatar has nowadays diplomatic path. Of course, it's continued or path with Pakistani role. And
Correct.
Of course, United States and regional stakeholders receive channels of communication with all relevant parts, and of course, this diplomatic engagement will focus on preventing direct military confrontation between U.S. and Iran. Second one, it involves Egypt expanding its role as a regional consensus builder, if we can say it, a continuous consultation with Arab leaders and the strategic partners. And of course, Egypt can contribute to developing a unified Arab position capable of addressing shared security concerns. And of course, there is a lot of or big concern about and question about security or regional security and the protecting, of course, the freedom of navigation in Gulf countries and, of course, reducing tensions and that regional economic stability. Of course, we have to build on our success story in Gaza. And, of course, Egypt has a success story and diplomatic efforts extended, and it's the same diplomatic philosophy, if we can say it, has guided Egypt efforts regarding what's happening in Gaza conflict and engage with United States and the regional parties and, of course, Arab countries and other international actors to facilitate the ceasefire negotiation and secure humanitarian access and prevent the conflict from spilling over into neighboring countries. So this multi-layered diplomacy has reinforced Egypt's position and Egypt's role as one of the few regional powers capable of maintaining constructive communication with all relevant parties.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your time and your insight, Dr. Monica Williams, the Professor of International Relations. Thank you for being with us. Now back to Major General Osama Kabir.